let's talk about building a truly powerful AI agent. We're going to get into one of the single biggest factors that determines whether it works brilliantly or fails completely. And it all comes down to the quality of the documents you use to train it. Get this part wrong, and really nothing else you do is going to matter.
I'm sure you've been here. You've built an AI agent, you've fed it all your company's information, and you ask it a pretty simple question, only to get an answer that is completely wrong or just makes no sense at all. It's incredibly frustrating, and it is the #1 problem we are here to solve today.
And that leads us to the big secret, the thing that changes everything. Your AI is only as smart as the information you give it. The key to getting those accurate, relevant answers isn't about some super complex algorithm. Nope. It's all about how you prepare, structure, and format your training documents. Now, to really understand why formatting is so critical, we kind of need to peek inside the AI's brain. Specifically, we need to talk about this thing called the vector store. So, what on earth is a vector store? Well, it doesn't just read your files like you or I would. Instead, it breaks them down into these small, meaningful chunks and then converts them into a special format. This is the magic right here, because it lets the AI search for information based on context and meaning, not just by matching simple keywords.
The easiest way to picture it is like this. The vector store is your AI's own personal library, and you're the chief librarian. It's your job to organize all the books, which are your documents, so the AI can find exactly what it's looking for, right when it needs it. Okay, so if we're the librarian, our first job is to pick the right kind of books to even put on the shelves. And that starts with choosing the best file types. Because believe me, not all formats are created equal in the eyes of an AI.
You can pretty much break down file types into 3 groups. First, you've got your all-stars, Markdown and JSON. These are your best bet, hands down. Then you have PDFs, which they can work, but you've got to handle them with care. And finally, you've got formats like Word docs, CSVs, and PowerPoints, which you should pretty much always convert before you even think about uploading them.
So let's break that down real quick. Markdown is perfect for any text that has clear headings and lists. JSON is the absolute champion for structured data. Things like product catalogs or question and answer pairs. PDFs, they're okay, but only if they're clean and well formatted. Everything else, you're just asking for trouble, because you risk losing all that critical context if you don't convert it first.
All right, now we're getting to the most important part. It's not just about the file type you choose, it's about what's inside that file. This is where we learn how to structure our documents so the AI can actually understand them.
These are basically your golden rules. Use headings to create a clear hierarchy of information. Use bullet points or numbered lists to break up those big walls of text. Keep your section short and focused on a single topic. The sweet spot is usually between 200 and 500 words. And if you're making an FAQ, use a consistent question and answer format so the AI can learn the pattern. Simple.
Now, let's talk about a super common mistake. People love using CSV files for tables and data, but for an AI, this is a total disaster. It basically flattens the data, which means all the relationships between columns and rows just disappear. The AI ends up seeing a meaningless jumble of words and numbers. And here's the perfect example of what I mean. Look at that before CSV data. To an AI, that's just a random string of text. It has no idea that $99 is the price for the basic plan. But look at the after version in JSON. It explicitly links plan to basic and price to $99. This structure, this is everything. It's how the AI understands meaning.
Okay, another common pitfall, messy PDFs and slide decks. You know the ones. They're filled with headers, footers, page numbers, and text boxes all over the place. A human brain can filter all that out, but when an AI tries to read it, it can't tell the difference between the real content and all that formatting junk. But hey, the fix is actually pretty simple, though it's super important. Just copy only the core content, the actual text you need. Get rid of all the clutter, the logos, the links, everything. Then just paste that clean text into a fresh Markdown file and use headings and lists to give it that clean, logical structure we talked about.
Here's a pro tip for you, especially when you're dealing with really big documents, like a huge employee handbook or a massive technical manual. Do not upload it as one giant file. The key is to break it up. Smaller is absolutely smarter here.
So instead of having one massive employee handbook PDF, you'd create smaller topic-specific files, like one for policies and another for benefits.
This helps the AI zero in on the exact chunk of information it needs to answer a specific question without having to sift through the entire book. It's so much more precise and way faster.
Okay, I know that was a lot of information to take in, so let's pull it all together into a quick start guide that you can use as a handy reference.
Just think of this table as your go-to cheat sheet. Got structured data like a product list? JSON is your best friend, no question. For most text-based stuff, like a knowledge base or even those slide decks you've converted, clean Markdown is the way to go. And this makes it super easy to match the type of content you have with the best possible format for your AI.
So, we've picked our file types, we've formatted our documents perfectly, we're almost there. But there is one final, absolutely crucial step that you just cannot skip.
You have to, and I mean have to, test what you train. This is not a set it and forget it kind of deal. You must verify that the AI can actually find and use the information you've worked so hard to prepare. And the process is just a simple loop. You upload your shiny new documents. Then you start asking your agent questions you already know the answers to. See if it pulls back the correct info. If it doesn't, no big deal. You just go back, tweak the formatting in your document, re-upload it, and test again.
And this really brings us to a whole new way of thinking. Your knowledge base isn't some static library you build one time and then walk away from. It's a living, breathing set of training files that you are constantly curating, tweaking, and improving over time.
So at the end of the day, building a brilliant AI really just comes down to this one question. Your AI is ready and eager to learn. The real work is making sure your documents are actually ready to teach.